And so let's go ahead and erase all of this. We'll be continuing to use the T-chart as our tool. It's a simple tool, and it's not overly complicated to keep the students grasping this new concept. So, in a bowl, there are 6 white marbles and 4 dark marbles. Right? We know the total amount, which is 10, the total amount of marbles is 10, okay? Now, in this, we can ask a series of different questions like, what's the ratio of white marbles to dark marbles? So, let's look at that one. So, white to dark. And we can simply say 6 to 4, because we looked at that. We can say, what's the ratio of dark to white? Basically, we're switching it up. We're doing the reciprocal value. Right? So, looking at the board, there are 4 dark and 6 white. Okay? And at their desks, I'll be just kind of observing whether or not they're grasping it, asking them, all right, so if we were to switch it up, how many white marbles would there be to dark marbles? Or how many dark marbles would there be to white marbles? And most students would grasp this concept because it's kinesthetic, it's hands-on learning. For auditory learning, we would just kind of read it and discuss it. And then for visual learning, well, the combination of the two would be helping them learn. So with those 3 learning characteristics, I'll be helping them in the classroom. I also think that by having hands-on learning, a visual learning, and then an auditory learning method, I'm addressing the need of the students, making sure that they're being able to understand and collectively grasp the concept. And that's why I decided to use the bowl as my assessment. Each student will have their own bowl of marbles and be able to break it down and look at it and decipher the answer to those questions. It's kind of simple. Now, maybe to add a little bit more rigor and a little bit more complexity, I can ask the students, what's the chance of me pulling out a dark marble? Now, this is like a real world method, right? So we could say, okay, well, if I went to a casino, what are the chances of me winning? Or what's the odds or the percentage of me grabbing a dark marble out of the bowl? So, what are the chances So we'll have to look at the total underneath. So there's a total of 10, right? So we just simply say 4 plus 6 equals 10. And we're looking for the chance or the ratio of us grabbing 1 dark marble out of the complete 10. So it would be 4 out of 10, right? That would be the total. What's the chance of us grabbing a white marble? Let's check it out. What's the chance of us grabbing a white marble? Would be, well, there's 6 white marbles, so we just say 6 out of 10. But we need to reduce those answers. So let's look at that. So 4 over 10 reduced by what? There's a number that we can use to both reduce these. The best number I would suggest is 2. So 2 over 2 and 2 over 2. Let's look at the dark marbles first. So 4 over 10, break that down, reduce or simplify, be the correct term, would be 4 divided by 2 is 2, 2 divided by 10 is 5. So the odds of us grabbing a dark marble would be 2 out of 5. The odds of us grabbing a white marble, 6 divided by 2 would be 3. 10 divided by 2 would be 5. So by reducing that, we can say, what are the chances, or what is the greater chance of us grabbing a white marble? Right? What's the chance of us grabbing a white marble? Would be 3 out of 5, what percent, or what is the ratio of us grabbing a dark marble? 2 out of 5, right? Total, because we're looking for the chance. What's the greater chance? Well, looking at the fraction or the rate, ratio, proportion, we'll be able to decipher whether or not. Obviously, the greater chance of us grabbing a white marble would be here, because it's 3 out of 5. And that's how I would really decipher whether or not the students are grabbing or grasping their understanding in this lesson. So, then I would ask them a series of questions to determine whether or not they're grasping it overall. So, what are the 3 ways in which we would write a ratio or rate or proportion? And we would just say, so A to B, or A fraction B, or A colon B. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be in that order. As long as they grasp that, I know they're listening. The other things that we'd be able to do is, well, we can use other extremities of the body parts. So we can say, how many hands to heads do my students have? We can say, all right, so everyone has 2 eyes to 1 mouth. So if there are 10 kids in the classroom, right, how many heads to mouths are there? So well, they would say 1 to 1, which is simple, but then we could complicate it a little bit more. We could say how many eyes to mouths, like I mentioned earlier, be 2 to 1, right? So how many total eyes? We could say 2 times 10, right, which equals 20, to 1 times 10, which was 10, so that would be 20 over 10, which reduces to 2 over 1. We used hands earlier, so these are the series of methods in which we can determine whether or not the student is truly grasping using mathematic practices. And that's important because students are really grasping the rigor, they're grasping the concept, and they're being able to decipher whether or not they actually understand it. And that's how I'll be able to test the students and their understanding overall. So that's my constructed variable. That's also how I'm breaking it down to my students and giving the lesson. And without anything else, I think that concludes the video.